Taking into account the events in my mother's life, I have entitled this presentation Love, Faith, and Redemption. Roen Robí Salinas was born on June the 8th, 1955 in Chapa, a small town that is 2 hours from Acapulco in Guerrero, Mexico. Her first years determined the type of woman she would be. Her father was assassinated when she was only 5 years old. This had a great impact in her life. She stopped going to school to help out with housework and taking care of her younger brothers. She only had a first grade education. The following years, her mother remarried and had 5 additional kids, making it a total of 9. The children from the first marriage moved out because they didn't like the new husband and because it was a great burden to take care of 9 kids. Soon they separated. Some went to live with uncles and aunts, and she was taken in by her grandmother. Soon her brothers gave themselves to alcohol and had many problems. Because of this, she had to act tough around them. She learned to cuss and had to act bravely so that her brothers would respect and listen to her. The foul language stopped when she met her husband-to-be. My mother says Isaac Flores knew who she was because they lived in a small town. They started their relationship through love letters. This was the custom in the town. She was 14 and Isaac was 18. Their relationship was not like those of today. My father had to ask her permission to give her a love letter. Only if she would accept it, he would then write it and had it delivered. They didn't go on dates, they just talked. He would see and talk to her in secret without her brothers knowing. Growing up in that town, women were expected to grow up and then marry. They didn't have options to choose from. They couldn't study or work. Their role as women was in the home. So she didn't give much thought to the concept of marriage. She only asked God for a good man and wished to be faithful and true to her position. To make a long story short, they married after 6 years of courtship. She decided to marry Isaac because he was handsome, but most of all, because he respected her. As a married woman, she went through some changes. She stopped cussing and soon spent some of the following years as a housewife. While married, another tragedy hit in her life. For some reason, she was not able to get pregnant. People made fun of her. They called her names. After 5 years with no results, she still had hope. She tells me she went to a church in the state of Michoacán. She got on her knees and prayed to God. One of the things she said in her prayer was, God, if you give me a child, I will name him after you, Jesus or Jesus. Jesus or Jesus is a common name in our culture. Soon I was born and 2 other kids came after me. I was really sick in my childhood, so my mom spent a lot of time visiting the doctors and healers. She became an overprotective mother for many years after this. In 1989, my father sent for us. He had been living in the US for a year and saved enough money to bring us to the States. Her role as a woman changed here. She had to work, cook, clean, and take care of the kids. My father had 2 jobs to make ends meet. In the city of Los Angeles, she met the man who answered her prayer, Jesus Christ. She became a Seventh-day Adventist Christian in 2001. She learned the story of Eve being created from Adam's rib and its significance, how she was equal with her husband. I noticed that she became independent to some extent. She was still submissive, but yet she made her own decisions to a certain degree. She tells me that she learned to love God above all, that her husband now became second, and God became first. When she was young, she felt worthless because she didn't have an education. She barely knew how to read. She felt like she had no rights as a woman. She was taught to obey her husband. Today it's the total opposite. She learned how to read by reading the Bible. She feels that she is worth everything because God made her feel that way. Now she has an opinion and knows that it counts. The relationship with her husband is better than in past years. They now share the same beliefs and thoughts since he also became a Seventh-day Adventist Christian.